Good morning, everyone. This is Rachel Deininger from Ohio EPA. We will be starting the webinar in approximately 1 minute to give people a chance to log on. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ohio EPA's 2023 Sustainability Conference. My name is Rachel Deininger, and I am with the Division of Environmental and Financial Assistance at Ohio EPA. I will be moderating this morning's Studies in Environmental Excellence session. Ohio EPA's 2023 Sustainability Conference has 2 sessions after this one today and 4 more tomorrow. Registration information and a conference agenda are located on the Ohio EPA's conference webpage, and we hope that you can join us for additional conference sessions. Please remember, it's not too late to sign up for the next conference session, and all sessions are being recorded for you to view later. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items to help you participate in this session. On this slide, you see an example screenshot of your attendee interface. You should see something that looks like this on your computer desktop on the right-hand side of your screen. For this presentation, you are listening in using your computer audio. If you're having sound issues or if these slides stop advancing, please try refreshing your browser. If that doesn't work, try logging off and logging back in. If you continue to have issues, please let us know in the Q&A pane, and one of our behind-the-scenes team members will try to assist you. Please feel free to submit questions to the presenters by clicking on the question mark icon and typing them into the questions pane on your attendee interface. You can send questions in at any time during the presentation. We'll try our best to answer the questions as they come in and during the Q&A portion. But if we don't answer your question during the Q&A, we'll provide your questions to the presenters to follow up via email following today's session. You can click on the document icon on your attendee interface to view included handouts. One of those handouts includes a PDF file of the PowerPoint slides used for today's presentation. This session is being recorded, and you will receive a link to the recording in a follow-up email along with the survey. The survey will also appear once the session ends. We value your feedback and would greatly appreciate it if you let us know how we're doing and if there's anything else we can do to further assist you. And with that, I'd like to introduce our session and our presenters. Today, we have representatives from 3 organizations that received Encouraging Environmental Excellence Awards in 2023. I'm extra excited to be moderating this session as we just had our award ceremony recognizing our award winners on Monday. The Encouraging Environmental Excellence Awards program recognizes organizations whose sustainability and environmental stewardship efforts go above and beyond regulatory requirements. There are 4 levels of the award that an organization can receive: Achievement, Silver, Gold, and Platinum. First up today, we'll be hearing from Mark Sebring with Platinum Level Award winner Frito-Lay. Mark is a career environmental safety and health professional with a Bachelor of Science degree in Chemical Engineering and an MBA degree. Currently, he is the EHS manager for 2 Frito-Lay manufacturing facilities located in Worcester and Canton. Mark has always had a passion to protect the environment and to protect others, so his career was a natural choice. Mark feels very fortunate to work with Frito-Lay due to their strong values towards personal safety and environmental sustainability. Next, we'll be hearing from Nicole Voss from Gold Level Award winner Advanced Drainage Systems. As the Director of Sustainability at ADS, Nicole leads the company's efforts to increase environmental stewardship, advance water management solutions, improve operational excellence, and ensure corporate purpose. As one of the largest plastic recycling companies in North America, ADS is making a significant impact in the circular economy by transforming discarded single-use plastic into resilient, durable goods used for stormwater management. Nicole holds a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering from The Ohio State University, is a registered professional engineer and an Envision sustainability professional, and has been working in the operations, environmental, and sustainability field for over 20 years. And last but certainly not least, we'll be hearing from Alexandra Reinhardt and Bethany Clouden from Silver Level Award winner Shin-Etsu Silicons of America. Alexandra Reinhardt is the Product Stewardship and Regulatory Manager at Shin-Etsu supporting the Americas. With over 10 years working in silicon regulations, she serves as the current chair of the Regulatory and Public Affairs Committee as part of the Silicon's Environmental Health and Safety Center domestically, and is also a member of the Global Silicons Council, supporting international silicon advocacy. Bethany Clouden is the Environmental Regulatory Specialist at Shinizu. Bethany has been working in the chemical industry for 6 years and focuses on implementing and maintaining site environmental and regulatory programs to ensure facilities and products comply with regulations as prescribed by the city, state, federal, and international agencies. And now I will turn the presentation over to our first presenter, Mark Sebring with Frito-Lay.
Thank you, Rachel, and good morning, everybody. I am Mark Sebring, the EHS manager for the Wooster and Canton, Ohio Frito-Lay plants. Thanks for joining us today, and also thank you to all the Ohio EPA folks who've put this conference together and for all their hard work to do that. We really appreciate it. So Frito-Lay North America is a part of the PepsiCo company. We have a focus at Frito-Lay on snack foods with over 30 manufacturing facilities across the US and Canada, and large numbers of warehouse and distribution centers throughout that area. We have many different products. Our portfolio not only consists of the traditional corn chips and potato chips, but varies from dips, the grandma's cookies, my personal favorite, to healthier, smart foods. All right, let's get back to Ohio. So Wooster, Ohio, our manufacturing plant, as you can see, it covers about 47 acres. Here at Frito-Lay, we've operated a facility for 57 years, so a pretty interesting history for the facility. We do have an impact on the local community. We are the 5th largest employer in Wooster. We have 5 production lines within our facility. We're also represented by the Teamsters Union for our hourly workforce, and we work well together with them, and we're proud to have both an off-site warehouse and an on-site warehouse. Our products consist of what we would mostly call our core products. We produce Fritos, Doritos, Tostitos, and Lay's potato chips in various flavors, and constantly evolving and changing into many other different flavors. Just to give you an idea of the volume of chips we're talking about from our plant, out of the 5 lines here in 2022, we produced just shy of 100 million pounds of product. So we do a lot of moving of products. The plant has a long history of environmental excellence. Our current environmental coordinator, Pam Carter, really led the charge recently with her passion and skills. I also want to give a shout out to James Votal, our backfill for her, for all the efforts he puts forth to make our program successful. We were very fortunate to have a lot of our folks involved in our program. And also, again, I'd like to recognize the Ohio EPA for recognizing businesses, communities, and educational institutions for their hard work and achievements in environmental excellence. Just speaking for the Frito-Lay plant here in Wooster, it truly means a lot to us in management and to the employees to be recognized by a third party like that for the efforts we do put forward. So PepsiCo has developed what's called a PEP Positive program to give us some direction, and also to kind of set goals and let the public know what we're doing. Here at the Frito-Lay plant in Wooster, we focus mostly on the positive value chain and looking at water emissions, water discharges, and water reduction, emissions, reducing our impact in the environment, and also creating meaningful jobs, opportunity, and creating a culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our programs at the plant start with a foundation of management commitment. I like to use the term we're all in. We really focus on committing to having a good environmental program, including environmental stewardship. We have a foundation of a structure, I should say, of written policies and programs. As you can see there, we are an ISO documented, ISO certified facility. We have a pretty rigorous program that gives us this kind of jumping point for being a great environmental company, in my view. We do get a lot of people involved. Most of the people here you see on this org chart for our environmental program are actually folks off the hourly floor. We give people time each month to participate in their programs. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. These are just some of the people that are involved in it. We have a lot of other people that are involved that do various tasks and anything from bailing waste to doing inspections. We also, part of our commitment to sustainability includes employee involvement in education and celebration. We do awareness events. We have a green team, mostly made up of production members of our EHS program and very much supported by management. Again, we like to recognize our folks and get folks engaged through different fun activities. As you can see here, we rebranded our green team and had a launch party kind of associated with Earth Day here. There's a few folks with our reusable tote bags. We were doing some cornhole and gave out some healthy snacks. So, and encourage people to join our green team. And again, not only do we do internal events, we do external events. Here are some examples of things we do within the Worcester community. We are fortunate to have a large fairgrounds that does host a number of events, so that gives us a great opportunity to do that. And then going back to recognizing employees. So each month we recognize the Eco Hero of the Month for various different reasons. It could be anything from, they're really involved in recycling or they help us with our compliance efforts. And through PepsiCo, we were able to give employees smile points that equate to about $75 to each award. So if someone becomes the Eco Hero for the month, they get a smile point equivalent to about $75 that can convert into many different things. Seems like Amazon gift cards are the most popular item. And then we do a lot of community service. We try, as a part of a local community and trying to be a good environmental steward, we do as much community service as we can. We've done anything from clean up parks to be involved in some of our local safety committees, that type of thing. So we definitely have a good impact on our local community. Just again to kind of talk about some of our initiatives at Frito-Lay, we really look at pollution prevention and focus on our resource conservation. I won't go into details here breaking that down, but I'm going to give you some kind of an eclectic overview of some of the things that we do. First of all, we kind of have to establish a baseline. Where are we at? And then every year we look at where we were at, our aspects and our objectives, and see where we want to go. And then we track that on a quarterly basis to see how well we are doing. That gives us an idea of, okay, we are able to reduce our fuel usage, our electric usage, and it gives us a scorecard, and everything's about scorecards sometimes that we can do a lot with. Waste minimization has probably been one of our first focuses we've had within Frito-Lay. We've done a lot of tracking from our waste inventory. In 2017, we were able to actually become a zero landfill facility through many efforts of taking some of our waste streams to recycling, some for reuse, some for different other types of reuse, including going to not going to a landfill, but going to a waste for energy facility. Just to give you an idea, we took about 120 tons out last year for waste energy, which is equivalent of about 10 households of energy per year. So a great avoidance of landfill, a little bit more expensive than going to the landfill, but also helpful to the environment from that perspective of creating something out of what would have been a landfill material. Oops, one more to me. Some cool things we do, and I'm just going to, again, it's kind of an eclectic overview of different things we've done in the plant, is we try to make it easier for folks to recycle. So recently we upgraded to these new modern sleek recycling containers in our office areas and cafeterias and break rooms. We were fortunate enough to get a grant to be awarded this through our PEP Positive program at our corporate level. And we were able to buy these and then donate our old containers, which were the traditional, say, blue recycling containers, to another facility that's able to use them. Another great idea that we've implemented was these bottle fill stations throughout the facility. So they're filtered water, comes out with chill, and it's also chilled. We give each employee a bottle to use throughout the facility. And I don't know if you can see it on this particular slide, but each bottle fill station has a counter, so people can see how many bottles we filled and how many bottles we saved from being sent to a recycling facility. Other things we do within the office setting are we make sure our printers, and we do have a ton of printers and copiers, make sure they're set on double-sided. And when available, it's actually been a little bit of struggle to buy recycled paper. We try to buy office paper with 30% recyclable content. Here's getting some of the cool things we do in our production thing that I really like, having come from a different environment before food. But here, how many people have seen lots of air in their bags of chips? I know it's a running joke, but we don't like the air either. But actually, when we fill a bag of chips, there isn't that much air in the bag, but whenever it goes into transport and handling, those chips settle and create a big air space. So what we've been able to do is basically through a rotary compaction system, we're spinning the chips as they fill the bag, is make the bags a little bit smaller, but still save the weight. That also, reduces the amount of plastic film we use for the bags to the point of we had 4.2 million square feet less film used last year in our bags because of this rotary compaction for our chips. So that's pretty cool. And of course, what this translates then to is the reduction in our went too far there. I'm sorry. Our transportation and our carton use. So because we're able to get more bags per carton, we use a little over 1 million less cartons annually to ship the same amount of product. And of course, you can therefore get more product on a truck. Our shipments are usually not a weight issue, but so much a volume issue. So by being able to condense the cartons, we're able to put more on a truck and to save in transportation costs and reduce our environmental footprint from that standpoint too. So pretty neat thing that Frito-Lay has done and our plant has implemented. Other reuse activities is our primary clarifier. We take the grease and oils, and it's mostly vegetable oils coming off our product, and we take that and we actually send it to a company for recycling to be put into electric generation feedstock. This helps us with not only like creating a recycled opportunity, but also reduces our impact on the city POTW. To give you an idea, in the last year, we sent out about 350,000 pounds of oily water mix to help out with energy generation. Another thing we do that helps impact the community is we constantly make sure our stock and our warehouses are kept fresh. So we have product that might be approaching what we would call a stale date, and we make sure we donate that product before it becomes past its use date. Last year, we donated about $2 million worth of store value of products. So pretty neat thing we do to the local Akron, Kent, Worcester area for food banks, and also to any local charity that would ask for it. We gladly donate our chips to them. There we go. Another thing, it's kind of one of my favorite things because it's simple but ingenious, is that we use our cartons approximately 5, 6, sometimes 8 times, which greatly reduces our cardboard use and reduces our impact to the environment. We do this because we have a distribution center. You've probably seen some of our employees stocking the shelves at grocery stores or wherever. But because they're the ones that are filling the shelves, they take the empty cartons, flatten them out, put them on their trucks, and through a little reverse distribution center, they come back to one of the plants where we segregate them and put them in the proper locations and reuse them again. So last year we reused about 800,000 cartons. So it's a great actually cost advantage to us, but it's also a great advantage to the environment. It's so profitable to us, we actually have folks a full-time employment of helping us get those back. And what we can't reuse, we send out for recycling. Not only do we recycle our cardboard, but any of our bags of shrink wrap, to our packaging film, to our seasoning bags. As you see, last year, 170,000 pounds of materials were generated and went for recycling. We do have 2 baling systems that help us maximize the amount of material we get on a truck for our recycling and keep those costs down, help us make a little bit of money. Another cool thing we do is about 3 million pounds per year of our dry product, our cooked product goes out for animal feed. So we have a lot of chickens out there that apparently like Doritos and Lay's products. So I'm glad we can help feed those animals. We have a company we partner with that was able to take those and recycle those into a animal feed. And I know I'm getting a little bit long, so I'm going to go through some of these last few quickly. To give you an idea of the volume of potatoes we receive about a truckload of potatoes, about 40 to 50,000 pounds of potatoes every 2 hours. So through peeling those and through cleaning those, we have a ton of dirt and waste skins. We send that to a compost facility where it's made into fresh compost. Again, we're able to avoid landfill costs, but we're also making impact on the environment by creating a nice opportunity there. And then when the potatoes are processed, we take any of those solids and we use a centrifuge to remove the solids. And it helps us not only with our discharge to the POTW, but also produces a wet waste cake that is then sent out for recycling to be made into animal food byproduct. As you can see there, this is truly really one of the cows that some of the cows that actually got to enjoy our product. We just to give you an idea, last year we generated almost 10 million pounds of product to send out to farmers and to be used as animal feed. We also, with all the potatoes, we generate a ton of starch. We try to recover as much starch as we can. We track that pretty closely. We want to have 100% recovery. Last year, we generated 200 million pounds of starch that is then sold, and it can be used in anything from cosmetics to fillers and other type of chemicals. It also helps us with our wastewater treatment because of less solids and less issues we have with our wastewater. And then our logistics side of things, we've transformed a lot of our fleet into natural gas. We're just now starting in electric. And as a matter of fact, within the next couple months here at Worcester, we'll be receiving 2 new yard trucks that are all electric yard trucks, which would be a cool thing for us to do. And again, I'm just going to go quickly through these next few. We focus on natural gas, electricity, and water. It's some of the things that many facilities have done, but some things that have made a big impact in our facilities. Heat recovery, reducing our water through fixtures that have a lower flow. Updating our boilers so improved, more efficient. Helped us with a great deal, and also insulating our pipes and preventing steam leaks. Some things that were interesting here is of course we wash our corn by being able to split the lines, and so that if one goes down, we can shut the other one off. We saved about 50,000 gallons of water annually. Just going from a high pressure nozzle to a regular pressure nozzle, we're able to save quite a bit of water washing our corn and our sliced potatoes. Going to a white roof or a reflective roof, which many facilities have, has helped us really reduce electricity use and heating, and I should say cooling costs. Switching to LED lamps it was a large investment, but it saves us about $60,000 a year in electricity, and also in sending out used fluorescent tubes for disposal. So that was a great add to our facility. And of course, externally, we were able to switch to LED lights. That has been energy savings and a cost savings to us. going to high efficiency motors and pumps. That also has been a great efficiency savings for us from an energy efficiency standpoint and a cost standpoint. Rapid roll doors, so we can control our air better throughout the facility, up and down quickly. Been a great thing we've done to control that. And then finally, just kind of wrap everything up. We've created a culture here over the years, thanks to people like Pam and James and everybody else who participates. It's been a good culture. It happens through persistence, participation, engagement, and then enablement. Making things easy for people to recycle, to dispose things correctly, and then also giving the people responsibility for handling their areas and their waste. And it's been a great place for me personally to work, and a great win for the company. So thank you for recognizing us, and hopefully I helped some people see what we do there.
Awesome, Mark. Thank you for that, and congratulations again to Frito-Lay for getting a Platinum Level E3 award. All right, and now I'm going to pass the presentation over to Nicole Boss, who's going to talk about Advanced Drainage Systems sustainability efforts.
Great, thanks, Rachel. And I think I'd want to start off by saying that, we're honored to have received this award from Ohio EPA, and I think that it's something that really makes me feel good about what I do every day and what our company does. Most of you, even if you live here in Central Ohio, may or may not know what Advanced Drainage Systems does. That picture there might not make it any clearer. So that's corrugated stormwater drainage pipe, kind of looks like looking down the barrel of a gun sometimes. But essentially, what we do, and this is core to our business, is protect and manage water. I like to say the world's most precious and undervalued resource, while safeguarding the environment and communities. And really that's core to our business, right? So I'm fortunate to work for a company that has the sustainability principles really at our root. So what are we doing to do that? As Rachel mentioned, we're one of the largest recycling companies in North America. We flip back and forth between the #1 and #2 place year over year. And ironically, we flip back and forth with a company that we buy a lot of material from as well to use their recycled content. So, this page just really kind of shows an overview of our business and where we're at. We're a $3+ billion company. Last year, we used over 600 million pounds of recycled plastic. That's a lot of recycled plastic, and I'll tell you more about how we do that and how we get to that number later. One of my biggest challenges in this role, you see on the bottom of this page, we operate our own fleet. We do very specific deliveries to construction sites and agricultural fields, so we need specialized equipment and trailers to do that. So we have a fleet of over 700 trucks and 1,300 trailers, and that's one of my biggest challenges, is how do we decarbonize that fleet? So it's a work in progress, I will say, but I'm hopeful that we're going to come to a great solution for that in the future. So what do? We like to say we manage the life cycle of a raindrop, from capture with our Nyloplast basins pictured there on the left, to conveyance with corrugated stormwater drainage pipe that can be either high density polyethylene pipe such as N12, or polypropylene pipe such as our HP Storm. And most of our products are buried. So the likelihood that you've seen these, you've probably seen them on job sites. Once they go into the ground, you don't see them anymore. So we are kind of that invisible infrastructure that manages things and keeps rainwater at bay. The third picture there, the yellow chambers, those are our StormTech chambers. And so those act as storage. Basically, they allow companies, residential developments, anybody to put a pond underground, right? To put a wide spot in that line, so that with these increasing rain events that we're seeing with climate change and with the capacity of the atmosphere for moisture increasing, we're seeing heavier rain events. We're seeing, more inches dropped in shorter amounts of time. It's critical that we have these detention parts in the stormwater system to avoid flooding. And then lastly, treatment. So through our Barracuda units and our EcoPure units, treatment of that rainwater to make sure it's returning back to the system, you know, in some cases cleaner than it came out of the sky, right? Obviously, as rainwater comes down, it picks up, you know, it hits pavement, it picks up oil, it picks up silt and dirt and whatnot. So as you go through that process, it's critical sometimes on the back end to make sure we're cleaning it before we're, you know, dumping it into our rivers and streams to ensure highest water quality. So we've set, one of my goals when I came into this position 3 years ago was to really line out what is our sustainability strategy? What should we be doing? What should we be working towards as our long-term goals? So back in 2022, we set our 10-year sustainability goals, and we focused them around the reason in our tagline, our reason is water, right? So that it was easy for folks to remember and you know, impactful, and they could really tie things back to what are we doing. So first and foremost, it's to nearly double our use of recycled material annually and hit that 1 billion pounds a year number. That's a big number. It's an ambitious goal. It was not a goal that was easy to get approval for with our executive team. You know, executive teams want to make sure, especially if you're a publicly traded company, that you set ambitious goals, but that they're also achievable. So to nearly double our usage is a huge target for us. One of the biggest hurdles in that is availability of products. So if you look across the board today, roughly 20% of plastic actually gets recycled, that can be recycled. So we need everyone doing their part. We need help in increasing equitable access to recycling. And so we've partnered with the Recycling Partnership to help increase equitable access, right? As most of you probably know, the US does a great job of recycling on the coast. And as we get further inland, it gets a little sketchy, and not everybody has the same access they should have. And so the Recycling Partnership works to increase that access. They also work to on education for consumers on how to recycle, right? Because I think if we've all been taught that, hey, you know, the chasing arrows means something's recyclable, but if you look at plastic products, those chasing arrows, if they have a number in them, are also the naming convention for that type of plastic, right? So you know, making sure that confusion goes away and people know what can be recycled. Primarily what we use is number 2 and number 5 plastic, so high density polyethylene and polypropylene. So think jugs and tubs, essentially bottles, jugs, and tubs. So your laundry detergent bottles, some of your personal care products, your milk jugs, those are all number 2 plastic. And then number 5 plastic is really your yogurt containers, your butter tubs, and some of those types of things. So we want all of those we can get in the recycle bins. And the other thing we're focused on is science-based targets, so reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. And what does that mean for us as a company? It's going to mean over a 50% reduction in our greenhouse gas emissions by 2032, which essentially, I talked about that large fleet. Since we don't have a good solution for the fleet now, EVs don't hit the range that we need. It will mean 100% renewable energy in our manufacturing operations. So we're working towards that now, and how do we line that out and make sure that we account for growth as we go through that. We've also decided to pull our suppliers along on this sustainability journey with us. I say journey because sustainability is not a destination, it's a journey, right? It's challenging, and pulling our suppliers along to make sure they have the same focus that we have is really important for us. So we've started that with the launch of a supplier code of conduct this year, and we'll continue to evolve that as time goes by. We also do a ton of great work through our ADS Foundation, and it's also focused on the 3 core pillars that we focus on for our business, which are water, recycling, and community. So you can read more about the great work we do through the foundation on our website, and I encourage you to go out there and take a look. They're doing some really great stuff. On the operations side, so safety. Safety is of the utmost importance in reducing our total recordable injury rate. We're making great progress towards that goal, but you know, any number greater than 0 is never good enough, essentially. So we're continuing to push. We've also committed, so we use a lot of plastic. So we've committed to Operation Clean Sweep, which is essentially a program for plastic pellet management to make sure that those plastic pellets that we purchase and or that we produce in our recycling facilities make it into product, right? And not into soil or water off-site. So, you know, committing to keeping 100% of those tiny little pellets on site. We also committed to 100% closed loop water usage at our manufacturing locations. Right now, that's just our pipe locations, but I expect that we'll be expanding that here soon. And then, you know, mostly being transparent, right? So how do we report out transparently on what we're doing and the progress we're making? I think, you know, Mark mentioned they have scorecards in the plant. What gets measured gets done. So it's important as you set these goals to also have those scorecards to track your progress, see where you're going, and see where you might need to circle back and say, hey, you know, we're not on target. What are we going to do about this? We've definitely had some challenges in our journey so far, and I'm sure we'll continue to, but the key is just being transparent about that and then figuring out how we're going to get there. So let's talk a little bit more about our recycling solutions. So we basically take single-use plastic products, primarily packaging on the post-consumer side. We also take in a fair amount of post-industrial scrap, and we turn that product into a durable good that goes into infrastructure and has a lifespan of 100+ years. So we're really critical. We're a critical off-taker for recycled material. We purchase material. We do some of our own internal recycling, which I'll talk about a little later, but we also purchase material from over 500 different companies to come up to the 600 million pounds or 540 for this fiscal year 23 that we use annually. So it's a lot of plastic, and it shows you how fragmented our recycling system is, that we purchase roughly the same amount of recycled material and virgin raw material. And the virgin raw material comes from roughly 9 chemical companies, and the recycled content comes from over 500 different vendors, material recovery facilities, recycling companies, you name it, because we buy plastic, recycled plastic, we buy bales, we buy flake, we buy pellets, you name it. If it's recycled HDPE or polypropylene, we're out there in the market actively searching for it. So this picture here just shows one of our recycling operations, and this happens to be, this line, the line in the picture on the left is actually for post-consumer goods. The picture on the right is pulling in post-industrial scrap. And I show you this picture to demonstrate that although we have an internal ADS recycling business that's vertically integrated and feeds our pipe manufacturing plants, we're not capable of producing 100% of the recycled content that we need. So we really need all of our partners to grow with us to meet our billion-pound goal. We can't get there alone. And when we announced the goals, there was initially some pushback. Some of our suppliers said, well, you know, are you guys going to cut us out of the loop? Absolutely not, right? We need everybody working together to get to that billion-pound goal. So we'll continue to move forward on that path, and I'm confident we'll get there, but it's not going to be easy for sure. And then, you know, lastly here, I think talking about our products. So our products are really helping communities as they plan to be resilient and deal with climate change. We're bringing the most lowest carbon footprint product on the market when compared to competing products. So, you know, ensuring that not only are they using materials that are recycled and contributing to circularity, but they also have the lowest carbon footprint. So this just shows some of the numbers for our recycled HDPE pipe, but straight out HDPE pipe with no recycled content is also lower than concrete, PVC, and corrugated metal pipe. So just really, you know, a great story for our product, and one we'll continue to push. And that gap's going to get even bigger once we've implemented renewable energy in our plants. So I'm excited to move that forward. we're also working, so this study was done through our trade association, but we internally are also working to ensure that we have carbon footprint data across all our product portfolios. You know, and this becomes more critical. Infrastructure projects are increasingly looking at LEED certification. They're looking at, you know, recycled so they want to know recycled content in our materials. They also want to know carbon footprint. And so it becomes increasingly important that we have accurate data to share with them. So we're working towards that, and I'm hopeful that by the end of this fiscal year, which is March of 24, that we should have that on all our major products. And lastly, I want to talk about some of our highlights from last year. So while we're incredibly proud of everything we've accomplished to date, and I say we because these are not my accomplishments, this is the company working as a whole, right? I said it's ingrained across the business, and one of the most refreshing things is we do our quarterly sustainability team updates, and I run the meeting, and everybody else comes in with progress towards our goals, right? So it's refreshing to see that. And we've accomplished quite a few things. We still have a long way to go, right? That billion-pound goal, we actually went the wrong way from fiscal year 22 to fiscal year 23. We used 600 million pounds in 22 and 540 in 23. Does that mean we're abandoning the billion-pound goal? Absolutely not. It just means that fiscal 23 was a rough year for us, right? I'm sure many of you felt that the changes in the economy, there were some crazy things going on with pricing between virgin resin and recycled content. There were crazy things going on with availability of recycled content. So, you know, we took a step the wrong direction. And this year, the focus is how do we turn that around and start moving back towards that goal? You know, so we continue to push on that and see how are we going to get there. You know, I mentioned fleet being one of my biggest challenges. So looking at the reduction we've had in fleet fuel consumption, and there are a couple things driving that, but we're a USCPA SmartWay partner. So routing, you know, making sure we're sending out full truckloads, making sure that we're picking the best routes for our fleet to take to these job sites, ensuring that our trucks aren't idling when they're, you know, standing still. Now, mind you, we run hydraulic lift gates, so when they're offloading product, they have to idle to run the hydraulics. But, you know, just making sure that we're making smart decisions on that front so that we're, you know, headed the right direction as well. You also see we had an increase in production rate. That's one of my biggest challenges, and I'm sure a lot of you face the same challenge. If you're in a growing company, and our company is definitely growing, you know, having to tackle having greenhouse gas emissions decreases while your manufacturing production rate is actually increasing. And in our case, that's going to mean that I'm going to have to offset about 200% instead of, you know, our reduction becomes much bigger because of growth. So we're going to have a bigger greenhouse gas reduction. And how do you time that to ensure that your renewables projects are hitting at the right time, lined up with that growth, right? It's a challenge. It's not something that's easy to do. And I will tell you that we are committed to making an actual reduction and not buying offsets to achieve that goal. So clearly a challenge. You know, on the social side, I think the thing I like to talk about the most there that we're doing is we partnered with the Ohio State University when they launched their Sustainability Institute. And, you know, that has been really exciting for us to get to share with the academic community the realities of what sustainability means to companies, right? I think a lot of times in the academic space, it's like, well, you know, we can just do all these great things. And it's explaining to them that that's great, and it's great to be altruistic, but you really, as a practitioner in this space, you have to build the business case, right? Mark had a lot of cost on his side. There's a reason for that. Cost savings drive a lot of what we do. If you can show a cost savings, you can usually get a project approved. It's harder to get those projects approved where there's not that direct link, right? And I'm sure he would share that sentiment that it gets a little bit trickier if you don't have a straight up, we're going to save you this much money to do this project. Not to say they don't get done, it's just harder to push those types of projects through. So I think, there's a lot on here. If you have questions about anything that's on this slide, feel free to reach out, or anything that I've presented. And that's all I had today. Thanks again to Rachel and the team, and appreciate the time to share some of what we're doing with all of you today.
Thanks, Nicole, and congratulations again to Advanced Drainage Systems, on your Gold Level Encouraging Environmental Excellence Award. And now I'd like to pass the presentation off to Bethany Clouden and Alexandra Reinhardt, who will discuss Shin-Etsu's sustainability program.
All right, good morning. Today we'll be presenting the sustainability efforts of Shin-Etsu Silicones of America, affectionately referred to as SISA, which is a global silicones manufacturer based in Akron, Ohio. SISA has worked diligently to create a more sustainable, environmentally conscious workplace. We're committed to reducing the environmental footprint of our company with continual effort to meet and exceed regulatory compliance.
We are very lucky because silicones themselves already meet sustainability goals, as they're energy efficient, they have long product life, and they reduce waste throughout construction, automotive, semiconductor, green energy, aerospace, and healthcare sectors. Cooperative efforts are, I would say, one of Shin-Etsu's most successful tools. So as I'm sure you've noticed today, there is two of us here to represent SISA and discuss our sustainability efforts. As Rachel had already mentioned in the introduction, my name is Bethany Clouden, and I'm the Environmental Regulatory Specialist here for Shin-Etsu.
And my name is Alexandra Reinhardt, and we look forward to speaking with you regarding Shin-Etsu's sustainability today. We also want to thank the EPA for allowing us to present today, as it aligns with our environmental vision statement, which says that we will maintain integrity by being transparent. Transparency was with both Mark and Rachel, and with our employees, community, and regulatory bodies. So that's you guys. We'll continue to improve and grow through our learning process, and we will encourage to share both our successes and mistakes as we develop through our environmental management. So today we're going to discuss our challenges, our successes, and our opportunities to improve upon environmental stewardship, both within Shin-Etsu facilities and our community.
In order to best serve our community, it is important to be transparent and share the challenges associated with sustainability in the workplace. I think we can all agree that it is not always sunshine and rainbow when you're trying to incorporate sustainability into a large workforce. Nicole had mentioned how her, just because her company is growing, sometimes recyclables are hard to come by, that, there are a lot of challenges that go along with that. But today, the three biggest challenges that we personally face and that we will discuss a bit further can be grouped into three broad categories: cost, effectiveness, and incidence.
So I'm not going to be telling you guys anything new, but the cost of green technology, eco-conscious products, and environmental incident proactive protective items are unfortunately not the economical option. Therefore, savings must be met somewhere for large capital projects to be approved. So we have to ask ourselves, how long does it take to make up the cost? Is there some other opportunity to gain support? For example, solar and water energy is just not a cost-effective or efficient option for our Northeast Ohio campus. And if you live in Northeast Ohio, you can attest to the cloud cover yourself, making this not a practicable alternative for our company. On the flip side, proactive products like specialized containment may be expensive, but it will save money in incidental releases, regulatory noncompliance, and improve our environmental morale. So it's our job as environmental stewards to bridge that gap and encourage top management to see potential in non-cost savings benefits as long as they are the feasible alternative.
Sustainability is only as useful as its effectiveness. For example, PFAS foams. It's a hot topic for US regulations right now. They are hazardous for both human health and the environment, but unfortunately, they are currently the most effective way to put out a silicone fire. Sustainable alternatives must be made available more readily to make up the difference. Because no two companies are the same, there is no one-size-fits-all answer to sustainability. So what might work for one company might not always work for another. Being creative and custom fitting effective sustainability into our company has definitely proven quite challenging.
Environmental incidents, both inside and outside a facility, will always occur, no matter how diligent and well-trained employees can be, and quite honestly, becomes more frequent during periods of higher turnover, which most industries are currently experiencing. Spills, regardless of size, must be reported at Shinitzoo in order to have best practice mitigation to prevent that type of spill from happening again campus-wide. Preventative actions like storm drain filtration, spills and incident training, and hands-on demonstrations are very useful tools, but they will not actually prevent the spill itself. It is impossible to remove the human component, and all we can do is stay involved, try and come up with new and engaging training, and tools to combat just a certainty.
So now that we've covered the not so pleasant side of sustainability, let's dive into the good stuff. Action is the fundamental key to success within Shinitzoo. Without company buy-in, we would not have grown to be better environmental stewards, which was largely facilitated by a top-down culture shift. In the last several years, we have executed important internal standards, which have allowed our company to implement actions and not just words to our environmental initiatives. So let's take a look at just a few of our external and internal goals that have made all this possible.
Our first external goal was to schedule a once-monthly facility-wide campus cleanup, where we spend our time cleaning our Akron campus and the surrounding areas. If you are in Akron, Ohio tomorrow, you are more than welcome to come to ours, which is, that's when we're having it this month. It provides us with a sense of community in Akron, and it enables us to see the immediate environmental benefits of our work. We allow employees time during their shift to get outside and create the change that we wish to see. Equally, we have planted wildflowers throughout our campus to encourage wildlife, help repopulate the monarch butterfly community, and provide structural support to our retention ponds. This was one improvement project that ended up being so incredibly rewarding for us, and we still continue to get amazing feedback from our employees about it. As I mentioned briefly, we're now lucky enough to have the opportunity to share our campus with some pretty spectacular wildlife. We frequently see deer, turkeys, birds, butterflies, and other wildlife roaming our campus. And I don't know about you, but I don't know anyone who wouldn't enjoy seeing a new baby deer throughout their workday.
As for our internal goals, Shinitzoo has established a multifaceted recycling program. We encourage our employees to recycle by providing bins in all the common areas, as well as training to help promote a deeper understanding of their contribution to a circular economy. Our production sites also recycle their packaging, including all plastic and wooden pallets, cardboard, and reclaimed scrap drums. Additionally, inside Akron's facility, we have implemented a HAZWOPER 40-hour team, which is led by our environmental and regulatory department, which is us. But our team also includes managers, supervisors, engineers, safety, and material handling personnel who work cooperatively to mitigate any environmental incident on campus. Because our team is so diverse, the entire campus is well qualified to administer knowledgeable support whenever necessary. Another one of our internal goals that Shinitzoo has approved and committed to is a carbon neutrality goal for 2050, which is spearheaded by our parent company in Japan. We have set important deadlines for things like equipment upgrades, electricity changeover, building and process integrity updates, and we should meet our 2050 goal well in advance.
In order to be truly sustainable as an industry, your chemistry set and production is just as important as your facility goals. Silicone chemistry is important to worldwide transitions toward net neutrality, decarbonization goals, and environmentally conscious green building. These lower carbon emissions can be realized by contribution to energy efficiency, by reducing primary energy demand by increasing insulation, product longevity by withstanding extreme conditions, and avoiding the need for fossil and non-renewable energy sources. What's neat is that this already aligns with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, which some of you may be familiar with already. And if not, if you just go on the UN's website, you'll be able to see what that looks like, and a few more interesting bit of clean energy, resilient infrastructure, fostering innovation, and combating climate change and its impacts.
With free technology, Shin-Etsu has the power to implement impactful changes on our site. We have upgraded 90% of our inefficient bulbs with LEDs, bringing our internal electricity costs down by thousands of dollars monthly, all while increasing efficiency by 75%. Equally, we have committed to capital improvements like upgrading scrubber efficiencies and monitoring, routing process waste in a safer and more efficient way, and utilizing important EPA exemptions to lower costs while improving disposal methods of waste generated on site. Waste generation is always an area of our company that we evaluate. A great example of this is in 2019, we converted our alcohol condensation waste from roughly 3 drums a day to an in-process collection tank. This reduced metal waste generation, transportation pollution, and ended up saving the company roughly $330,000 a year. Additionally, as part of our continuous improvement projects, we have scoped only utilizing reusable or washable rags for cleaning in production. Unfortunately, this method was unable to be implemented site-wide due to the possibility of contamination, and so these areas still required an appropriate solution. But fortunate for us, in 2022, we applied for and were able to be qualified to receive the EPA exemption for solvent contaminated wipes, and we set up disposal for that at the Rumpke landfill. This disposal change alone saved us over $200,000 per year in cost and helped us meet environmental sustainability in those cleaning areas that we discussed previously.
The future of sustainability in the chemical sector is looking bright, giving us opportunities to grow in our ability to foster impactful environmental standards. Not only is the regulatory climate pushing for sustainability, but the entire industrial value chain has, pun intended, not a very good pun, but a pun nonetheless, placed significant value in environmental product stewardship. The opportunities are boundless when we can all work together to fight for a common goal. Shin-Etsu is certified to ISO 14001:2015 as their environmental management standard, which allows us to provide regulators, customers, and the community with information on our environmental objectives, highlighting our product stewardship initiatives. By vetting our vendors through environmental management surveys, we can feel confident in our own value chain being responsible environmental consumers and suppliers. It makes the whole thing a team effort, and that makes the whole concept of environmental sustainability so much more attainable. We also encourage internal team efforts by allowing our employees to provide feedback and suggestions to help find new and innovative ways to become good environmental stewards. When a suggestion is implemented on campus, we reward the employee with public recognition and thank them with a form of compensation. It was only through an employee recommendation that we chose to fence in our waste collection area, which provided additional safeguard measures against elemental incidents.
In 2023, Shin-Etsu partnered with Eco USA to establish a recycling program for some of our silicone materials. These products would normally be disposed of as either hazardous or non-hazardous waste, but are now being recycled and placed back on the market as generic silicone material. This allows for approximately 30,000 pounds of silicone to be directly recycled, having both an environmental benefit and a cost savings benefit.
Carbon net neutrality is a priority for both regulatory bodies and most companies in the US and abroad. Carbon net neutrality cannot happen overnight, but making a plan, like our 2050 goal for net neutrality, and taking small but deliberate steps to meet that goal will ensure the goal remains realistic and not overwhelming. One small step towards our goal is to purchase green energy credits through electricity, making Bethany and my job just a little bit less burdensome, getting us closer to net neutrality. As innovation improves in the green energy sector, the access to this developing technology only becomes more attainable, allowing greater opportunities for growth.
We truly appreciate your attention, and again, just want to thank Ohio EPA for allowing us to demonstrate our commitment to sustainability with you today. If you're interested in learning more about our sustainability efforts and goals, you can check out our website at shinitzusilicones.com/sustainability. Or if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to us at the emails which are provided on this slide.
And we also want to thank Shinitzу employees, because without our employees being such great environmental stewards, we would not have the opportunity to receive this award anyhow. So thank you all.
Thank you, Alexandra and Bethany. And congratulations again to Shinitzù for receiving a silver level Encouraging Environmental Excellence Award this year. All right, so now we're going to have our presenters answer some of the questions submitted during today's presentation. And if we don't answer your question during the Q&A portion, we will be providing your answers to our presenters to follow up with you via email following today's session. And we still have some time, so please keep submitting questions. All right, so our first question today is for all of the organizations, and that question is, what did receiving an Encouraging Environmental Excellence Award mean to your organization?
So this is Mark. I can answer that if you'd like me to.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So two things. First, the folks who work so hard on our sustainability efforts, it's recognition by that third party, somebody from outside the company, and somebody like the Ohio EPA, which has a great respect from our folks that work in the environmental field here. Secondly, it shows to our management that outside groups are watching and recognizing our efforts, not only as from a regulatory standpoint, but also, when you go beyond that regulation, you're taking the extra efforts in leading things that maybe cost a little bit more to do, but are the right thing to do for the world, for the earth.
Yeah, and I think, I second everything Mark said. And I think for us at ADS, again, it's that external validation. I mean, I took the flag back into the office. For those of you who don't know, when you receive one of these awards, you receive a flag that you can fly on your flagpole. So lots of excitement around that, right? Because it's really kind of that validation of your commitment to the things that you're already doing. And it's an opportunity for us to celebrate the employees who make that happen every day, right? I mean, there were a handful of us that got to attend the award ceremony, but it's bigger than that. And we'll use it internally to really leverage and let them know, hey, what we're doing does make a difference, right? Because they're in the trenches doing it every day at the manufacturing locations to make sure that we can achieve it.
And you know what, Mark and Nicole said it so well. It really is that the employees get a sense of community, a sense of feeling like that what they're doing is important. And from maybe more of a purely selfish standpoint, if you get an EPA award, sometimes maybe your top management wants to spend more money to make it even better. So that is kind of it's been really great and extremely helpful, because it kind of highlights all of our environmental initiatives and makes us have the opportunity to get even better.
Great stuff. All right, and our next question, this is, I think, a good one for everyone as well. Does anyone have any ideas on ways to track data and turn it into a database, or use software that can track it for you on a dashboard?
So I think I'll jump in there. There are a plethora of solutions that abound, and I will tell you, I am as lost as most when it comes to the external vendors that can do this for you. What we've done at ADS is we've created our own internal Microsoft Power BI dashboard that ties back into all the systems where all the data is housed, so that we can track all our metrics in one spot, on one dashboard, share it with our quarterly sustainability committee meetings, and share it with our board when we do sustainability report outs.
Yeah, that's interesting. Here at Frito-Lay, it's something similar. We have a system that's company-wide that I think it's an Avalon system, but it's been specialized for Frito-Lay and our requirements. But we put the data in there to track it, and then through Power BI and some other different types of reporting methods, we can extract that data back out there, not only for our particular plant, but to see how we compare with other plants, and you get some little competitions going and that type of thing. So we, and from a corporate perspective, I do know we use it to roll up everything for our annual reports.
Interesting. Yeah, it seems. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Okay. I was going to say that, you know, maybe not all companies have as technology savvy databases, but for sure, you know, if you don't have as much resource, you can always use Excel databases that will kind of input your data and then track that as well. And then you can share them internally with whatever database you are using currently for, you know, all the different departments to be utilizing as well.
Yeah, and I'll kind of reiterate that we do use that locally too. You probably saw in my presentation, there's Excel spreadsheets there. So if we're tracking something internally, needing the information immediately, we put it on a spreadsheet too. So that way we can develop our own graphs and manipulate the data to you know, demonstrate what you know, for our local management, what they might want to see.
Yeah, and to add to what everyone else has said too, depending on what you're looking specifically to track, I know for energy anyways, Energy Star has some good spreadsheets that can help give you an idea of like what to look for, available on their webpage. Yeah, tracking data and databases and, you know, making sure you're catching everything can definitely be quite the challenge for companies. Right, so now I have a question for Frito-Lay. And that question is, what types of waste are going to waste to energy?
So as you can imagine, like for like a food producer like we are, so cleanliness is everything. So I'm going to say the majority of the waste that ends up into our compactor going for waste to energy, it has something to do with cleaning or sanitation or personal sanitation. So room like paper towels from our restrooms, our cafeterias, our break rooms. And also, you know, before you enter the plant, you have to wash your hands. So we wash our hands constantly. And then you think about a production line, you know, we're doing various wipe downs with either dry or wet disposable wipes that can't be reused because of the potential of allergens, you know, even a little bit of allergen ending up after something's cleaned can be a problem. So we use single use, usually like a paper towel type wipe, a little bit heavier, and that typically has to go to landfill because we can't reuse it. So the majority of it, I can't give you a percentage, comes from those efforts.
Very interesting. Thanks, Mark. All right. And then, okay, so this next question again is for all of our presenters today. And that question is, what do you believe is the #1 contributing factor as to why your environmental compliance and sustainability efforts have been so successful at your organizations?
The answer, and it might be for all of us, it'll at least be for Shimizu, is top management support. If you have top management support, every employee underneath them gets to see how important environmental sustainability is. And not only that, but that's where you're going to be getting the funding for all the projects that you may have. So having a culture that is interested and invested in environmental compliance and environmental sustainability is number one, at least.
Yeah, and I'll second that. And then in addition, like locally, it's persistence of people like Pam and James that are our environmental coordinators, not necessarily taking no for an answer or not giving up on something, even they hear no or might be pushed back on or don't have the funding at that particular time, wait a few months and maybe the funding comes around. But also, it's the PepsiCo's commitment expectations that's trickle down. And then, engagement and involvement of our team. There's always folks stepping up that, hey, what if we did this or what if we do that? And you get them involved, and then things start to happen. It makes it a little bit easier to hit your recycling goals because people are, literally picking stuff out of trash cans because someone threw their whatever aluminum soda can into the trash can. So it's that engagement and that involvement that creates a sense of ownership from everyone.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with both of those responses. I think the third piece might be, in addition to, that top-down approach of management really pushing it and buying into everything sustainability related, and the enthusiasm at the employee level, it's really about fostering that culture where people feel free to come to you with ideas, right? Because let's be honest, us as the practitioners, we don't always have the solutions. The folks who work on the lines and see it day in and day out, a lot of times if you ask them the right questions, they'll say, well, yeah, I've wondered why we didn't do this for years, right? And then it's working with them in some cases to then build the business case for how do you get it done, right? Because they might not have the tools to build the business case and to get it in the right people's view, but just working together to make sure you can get there.
This is reminding me of the graphic that Mark had in his presentation and the quote that said culture eats strategy for breakfast, and it had the little shark eating the strategy fish.
Yeah, it ripples through our facility with many of our hourly folks that they get pretty involved with our environmental efforts, and that's great to have.
All right, so our next question is, are there any certifications such as professional engineer or lead professional that have been highly useful in these projects?
I would say for me personally and Frito-Lay, I don't think so. We do use professional engineers where necessary, but most of the sustainability recycling efforts have come through either like our organically through the plant, or else corporately through ideas being generated by Frito-Lay and Pepsi. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily a certification that we were able to obtain that helped it, or somebody here might have.
So in my role on the building and construction industry side, it's been beneficial. I have a Envision environmental sustainability professional certification, and I think that's been really useful in working with some of the contractors and some of the engineers that we work with. I'm also going to shamelessly put in my plug that if you're an engineer, I firmly believe in the professional, certification system for engineers. I think it makes sure that you stay current and that you continue your lifelong learning, and that's just my personal 2 cents on it. Not that it's required to do any of these roles, but I think it's a great thing to have.
So for Shinizu, we find that having like a very diverse workforce helps tremendously, especially with the recommendation project that we have, that allows anybody and everybody who has different life experiences to be able to contribute their own ideas. Because kind of like we mentioned in our in our presentation, sustainability is so much about creativity, and there is no like, you know, class or certification that will show you or, you know, explain how to be innovative in those types of ways. So I find that more than like a certification that could help you with sustainability would be your employees and what they have to offer.
Right, especially when they're, you know, they're all doing different jobs, right? And you're not going to be overseeing every single thing. And so when they notice something, they feel, you know, inclined, kind of like what Nicole was saying earlier, to kind of bring something up to you. That's, I'd say, more important than a certification.
Yeah, I think these are some really, really good insights. And kind of ties into our next question too, which is, what advice do you have for organizations looking to further their sustainability journeys?
All right, this is Mark. I'll jump in just to break the silence. So you know, here at the Worcester plant is involve many. You know, like we do involve many people. Recognizing, you know, good people and their accomplishments. You know, even like look for outside recognition through you know, for instance, this platinum award. Persistence. You know, don't give up hope on something. If you really believe in something, say, you know, but you can't get the funding right now, don't give up on it. Keep looking for opportunities to do that, and look for resources for help. There's lots of resources out there, both internal to our company and external to those company, whether it's a grant or somebody that knows something. You know, we're always like looking for opportunities to improve ourselves.
Yeah, and going off of Mark, he's definitely right. You know, funding is always important, but there are a lot of things that you can do that don't require a lot of money, just to kind of start off your company, right? Like we said, we do campus cleanup. If you have trash bags and you have the will of some employees, you have something to start off with, and it makes your employees more invested and engaged, and then it really helps bring sustainability to like an area in a field where your entire company is getting involved. So starting small or trying to find things that maybe don't cost very much money is really a nice way to at least start out your sustainability journey.
Absolutely. And then I think I would add to that, you know, always having your list of projects that you would love to do, right? If you had the time, the money, the resources to do them, so that, you know, if you're given the opportunity to either bring on staff or bring in an intern, you have stuff for them to work on and tackle. I mean, we've been really successful partnering with Ohio State to bring in interns, and interns are ambitious, they are bright, they look at the world through a different lens sometimes than you do, and it really helps having that outside set of eyes come in and look at things. A success story from my former employer, totally unrelated. I had an intern come in and he was really pushing, we need to get a renewable energy project, you know, on site at one of our sites. And, you know, I just kept telling him that management's not going to let that happen. You know, it's going to be too cost prohibitive. And he pushed and he actually worked with our energy broker, and they made it happen at a cost savings at one of our headquarters. So just a huge success story. He was persistent, like Mark said, right? He was persistent and ambitious, and he really knew what he wanted. It took a long time to get there, but he got it done.
That's a great story and really inspirational. Yeah, it's good to hear the persistence paid off, and it's nice to hear everyone's insights about what has worked for your sustainability journeys. Great, so we have a question here for Mark, and that question is, what is the film packaging machine Frito-Lay uses called?
Yeah, and I answered that online. So it's called a bag maker is what it's really called. The particular brands we have are made by a company called Douglas. And I think there's another one out there called Atlas, but Douglas are the newer ones that have that rotary compaction system on when it goes to fill the machine, the chips are spun around. So It's called a Douglas bag maker. You can probably Google it and see probably videos online how they work.
Yeah, someone who's seen the facility, I can say that the bag machines are really interesting.
Yeah, the bags are actually made as they are filled. So it comes in as a flat roll of film, and then it's heat sealed up on the bottom and then up the side as the chips go in it, and zipped on the top. The actual potato chips are blanketed with nitrogen to ensure freshness. The corn chips are not.
So interesting. All right, so I think that's all the time we have for questions today. For any questions that we didn't get to, again, we'll be providing the presenters with your questions and email addresses so they'll be able to follow up with you. All right, so thank you again to all of our presenters and thank you all for joining us today. This webinar has been recorded and you will be receiving an email after the webinar with the link to the recording and a link to the session survey. So before we end the session today, we would like to draw your attention to Ohio EPA's Encouraging Environmental Excellence Award Program, which we've been talking about. So yeah, if you heard our presenter stories today and that resonated with you, please make sure to check that out. The Encouraging Environmental Excellence Program has 3 categories that recognize any Ohio business, industry, trade association, professional organization, or nonprofit, K through 12 public or private schools, local governments, and local governments for environmental stewardship commitments and practices. Online applications are open for the 2024 award cycle and will close on April 30th, 2024. To learn more, please visit epa.ohio.gov/OhioE3. Right, and once you leave today, you will receive a survey. We value your feedback and would greatly appreciate it if you let us know how we are doing and let us know if there's anything we can do to further assist you. You will also receive a follow-up email within 24 to 48 hours with links to view a recording of today's session, a certificate of attendance, and another link to the survey if you don't get a chance to complete it right now. Before we end today, please check out our upcoming sessions for the 2023 Sustainability Conference. Join us at 1 p.m. for Brownfields, A Path to Sustainable Reuse to learn more about resources for sustainable brownfield redevelopment. Then at 2:30, join us for the Truth About Ohio's Recycling to hear information from industry experts about recycling in Ohio. We also have a full day of sessions on Thursday as well, so please check those out on our conference webpage to learn more about those sessions. And with that, we will end the session of Ohio EPA's 2023 Sustainability Conference. We hope you can join us for other conference sessions. Thank you again for joining us and have a great day.